welcome to the final episode of Spyro 1 Reignited. But this won't be the final episode of the Spyro Reignited trilogy, so you can bask in that knowledge if it makes you feel any better, because the Spyro train ain't stopping anytime soon, but we are going to try and end off the original Spyro strong, because, well, we're starting off with a boss level, and it won't be the last one, but it is the final boss, the only boss, of Dreamweavers, and that being Jacques. You dare stand before me, Jacques? Well, we're gonna take you on, alright. So Jacques has a really good music track, and I think this is actually one of the composer's favorite music tracks as well. He seems to reference it a lot whenever he talks about his music on the Spyro trilogy, as I recall from interviews and whatnot. So Jacques, being the boss level, and also really kind of a level on its own in its own right, irregardless of the boss factor, is the last level in Dreamweavers. It's supposed to be anyway. You can still technically do it first, but you know. And while the other levels were definitely more dreamlike, with maybe Dark Passage kind of treading the needle between Dream and Nightmare, this level is full-on Nightmare territory. Not Nightmare Fuel, that's a completely different topic entirely. Nightmare Life, as in, well, this place is kind of a giant nightmare. Who dreams about this kind of stuff? This is definitely more Nightmare territory. That's freaking lava, okay? So much like Dark Passage and some of the Dreamweaver homeworld, Flaming the Fools will benefit you and help you reach high places here in Lofty Castle too. I'm just kidding. Well, it'll help you reach high enough places in Jacques, sure enough. You might get a little bit of everything from the Dreamweavers here in Jacques, you know. But the enemies can catch you off guard. Be careful with the enemies. The fatties, you gotta flame the fatties, and the metallic enemies, you gotta charge into them. Some of the positioning for the metal enemies can be rather inconvenient, so make sure you're aiming yourself properly. That can apply to more than one factor. By the way, charge! Did I miss both of them? Good lord. Man, looking up close, they kind of remind me of Battletoads for some reason. Anybody watching this might have played Battletoads? I doubt it, but... Well, there is that new Battletoads game, supposedly. I heard there was one coming out for the Xbox, which, you know, I don't really play, but it sounds pretty cool that they're bringing back Battletoads. And that was a pretty fun game on the NES, you know. Actually, I think it was one of the later NES games that came out, so I wouldn't be surprised if when I played it, it might have actually been relatively new, instead of being like a glorified hand-me-down or rental or some other whatever, you know. So over here in this little nook and cranny, we got the key. We saw the key chest earlier. But the thing about Jacques is the level layout is a little interesting. So there's actually kind of a secret area to the side, and we're actually close to it. Which is why Jacques I consider really a level on its own. Aside from there being a boss here. Yes, there is a boss. I'm pretty sure he's called Jacques, but this is still largely a level on its own. So that platform, to knock that one down, we're going to have to flame, I believe we have to flame this fool all the way over here. Flame him, this guy, so we got to get on this platform, and that platform, and then boom. Now we got to wait for the time out, because it will give us the necessary vertical ascension to reach over here. And here's actually a dragon. Not the dragon that you usually rescue right before a boss, but a dragon. I'm thinking it might be good to rescue him now.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Take care.
So they added the take care part there. Probably because you're in one of the harder levels in the game. So that's actually pretty aptly timed, I would say. I think there isn't a skill point here. There's a pseudo skill point, which would translate to a trophy or an achievement on the PS4 or Xbox version. I believe you need to defeat all these enemies in one consecutive glide, which is for some reason absurdly challenging to do. I managed to do that first try. I think it's harder in the PS1 version to do. for one something glide related is actually harder on the PS1 version than it is in Reignited. I'm a little shocked to say that, but yeah. Pretty sure if you do that, you get a trophy or an achievement depending on what version of the game you're playing. I'm playing on Switch, as I've said multiple times, for reasons, and, you know, as I've said before, the Switch version of the Reignited trilogy seems to hold up pretty darn well compared to the PS4 version. Obviously, if the Switch is all you got, it's definitely good enough to play the Crash and Spyro remakes, for sure. I still recommend these versions and everything, but if you do own a PS4 or an Xbox One for some reason, do get these on those. I think all that's left is literally that key chest and the stuff that you have to deal with where the actual boss is. Okay, second try. Better than nothing. Better than like 5 tries or something. I don't think there's been anything that took me that many tries, you know, whether I've had to trim them off screen or what have you, but you never know. Let's head back over here. We barely have 300 of the 500 gems, so yeah, they really put a lot of the gems, you know, need close to where the boss is. For some odd reason, I'm not sure why they do this, but there we go. Well, the boss has a lot of purple gems. The purple gems are worth 25. Alright. 325. Yeah, that feels about right. Now, this dragon, there's the boss, by the way. I don't mind him too much, but here's the dragon to rescue, and this dragon has my favorite lines of dialogue, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that opinion. Good old Revelo with the revelations.
Any advice before this battle?
Advice? A wise dragon once told me aim high in life, but watch out for flying boxes.
Huh?
Oh, and they really improved Spyro's reaction to that, too. Alright, so Jacques, you gotta flame him. Watch out for sometimes, once in a blue moon, he'll actually throw a box at you, and it might hit you. God forbid, but yeah. This is the second hardest boss, I would say, in the game. I know that's not saying much, but well. So there is a skill point that you get by defeating the boss without getting hit by him. And like with Dr. Shemp, I'd say sometimes I have a bad day and I don't get the skill point. But yeah, it usually doesn't happen if you're attentive. And it's not like he spams the attack ridiculously or anything, so you know, if you're careful, you should get the skill point. That was an oddly timed clock chime there. All that's left, boss-wise, is get nasty Gnorc, and all that's left is really the final world. So let's just return and bask in the glory of that fact. Alright, well, we finished off Dreamweavers, we finished off Jacques. I like saying that name for some reason. I think it's French, and that's why it's not pronounced like Jacques. You know, it's Jacques. Jacques, you know. You gotta love the...
Well done, Spyro. I hope you know what lies in store for you. Nasty's world is not the friendliest place you'll ever find. Are you ready to go?
Gee, Nasty's world isn't the friendliest world in the world. A shock and surprise, I'm sure. Nasty's world. I do like the sun in the background. It's a nice touch. Looked a lot like the sun that we saw towards the end of Jacques, I think. Oh, no. And for our fodder, we have rats. Just rats. They might be mice, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you the difference between a mouse and a rat, honestly. I think it's something to do with the tail that tells you the difference between a rat and a mouse, maybe. There's the first level, North Cove, aptly named. So how Nasty's world works is that as you clear each level, the next level will unlock in a sequential order, which, yes, I understand is completely contradictory compared to the more non-linear approach that the 5 other worlds have had, but, you know, this is the final world. The developer Insomniac, when they made the original, they probably wanted to go for that kind of home stretch approach instead of, you know, giving the player too many options at once. I mean, so you see there's 1 level already unlocked and there's 3 other dragon heads. So that's 4 levels total. It's really only 1 less, I think, compared to the other. North Cove, there's the next level, Nasty, I think, is one of those dragon heads, and the other one is the secret level. So yeah, and there's a dragon here. Let's rescue him. Say, that name looks familiar, though.
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Nasty's world now, Spyro. And you are the dragon that must defeat him.
Bring him on! I'm ready!
Reach the exit in each of Nasty's lands. Then you can challenge the Nork himself.
But without further ado, let's go to North Cove. This level has my favorite music track in the game, by the way. Did you all get a really good taste of that music? Because, man, the rhythm of North Cove's music is so good. It's like, and it has a good build-up like Dark Passage as well, man. It's just, this is peak. And for this to be the first level of the final world, it makes a strong impression. I do wonder if this impression can carry through to the end, however. Let's do this track.
Keep up the good work, Spyro. I expect Nasty's really starting to worry about you.
I'd be shaking in my Nork boots if I were him.
That dragon's design reminds me a lot of the Dreamweaver's dragon designs. I think I already commented that those are some of my favorite dragon designs in the series. Well, the original game, I guess. It's the only one where it matters. Because this is the only one where you're actually rescuing dragons. Well, actually, there is one section in Spyro Into the Dragonfly where you rescue dragons as well. Possibly it's a throwback to this game. Kind of hard to say with how that game turned out, but I think it's easy enough to at least get that impression from the level called Dragonfly Dojo. The first level of Into the Dragonfly. Now, you want to talk about a linear Spyro game, there you go. You pretty much have to do the levels in order there. You know, for as few as there are, but, well, I'll have plenty of time to talk about Into the Dragonfly in the future, I'm sure. But for now, we're gonna focus on talking about some good stuff. It's about rats over there in this section of life. Yeah, North Cove is a really solid first level. It's not terribly hard, not terribly easy either. It eases you into the final world. Say that you should really put up your guard strong when we get to the next level, which you'll find out the name of pretty soon. Also like that how the TNT, you can flame the TNT and defeat the enemies that are sitting on top of the TNT. The enemies are fun too, and the enemies that are holding TNT, if you flame them, you'll actually break off their armor and whatnot, and you'll like break off everything, and you can then defeat them normally, which is a pretty nice touch as well. Yeah, overall, just a really good level with a really great music. Oh boy! Almost got hit. You know, I wonder if the enemies throwing barrels is a reference to Donkey Kong, actually, now that I'm trying to think about it. It could be. I mean, it's not the only reference, if it is the case, in this level. Let's see if I can aim this correctly. There we go. Yeah, it's a little annoying to get this chest, because you have to go a little bit out of your way, but it's not huge. Not the worst instance of in-level backtracking or I feel like Treetops was pretty bad about that sort of thing. Especially if you messed up the supercharges, you know? Oh boy, but speaking about backtracking, that is something Spyro 2 and 3 do kind of double down on. Some odd reason. Sad to say, a lot of that, in fact pretty much all of it, is kept intact for the remakes, and in some ways it's made worse, because there's actually less ways to circumvent the backtracking, in Spyro 2 at least. But, you know, that's just the thing you gotta deal with.
Wow, I never thought I'd be rescued, especially by such a little dragon. What I mean is, I always believed in you, Spyro.
You gotta believe.
You gotta believe! That reminds me of a game I played on the original PlayStation. What was it called? Paw Paw? I think something like that. Paw Paw the Professional Wrestler? I don't know, it's been a while. That game's old as I don't know what. I think it came out when I was like 6 years old. And yes, that constitutes old in my book. Something came out when I was 6 years old. Take that for what you will. And also that dragon was, you know, that ukulele is pretty nice. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on a ukulele like that. Yeah, anyway, we're getting close to the end of North Cove actually. I think there's only 400 gems here. Actually, I think that's something they kind of cut back on a little bit in Nasty's World. I think most of the levels actually have slightly less dragons and gems to collect. I do remember them kind of blowing their load a little bit when you get to the secret level, especially and Nasty himself, his level. So obviously he's a boss, he's going to get his own level. Isn't that how it's been so far? I don't think there's been any real deviation in that, you know. This is a key chest. See, the thing about the key chest, though, is that you can just do that and kind of just destroy it. I wonder what's going to happen to the key if and when we run into it. But yeah, that's not the only instance where you can do that sort of thing. Actually, I think the key is right behind these guys. I can't kill both of them in one barrel. I think you could in the PS1 version. You just flame them like that. It's no big deal. No big whoop. These rats. Enjoy the presence of the rats for now. I'm pretty sure they aren't as prominent. I think the key is here. If you didn't figure out about the trick to destroy that chest, I guess. I believe Treetops has a chest you can destroy, a key chest you can destroy with the supercharge. Double check that. That might not be the case, but that chest that I destroyed earlier, as you can see, is definitely destroyable. You could glide and flame this guy, but I find it's a lot safer just to throw another barrel at him. I mean, why not, right? Whoa! Man, I don't know how I missed that jump. Alright, now we got two. Let's see. Try to get both of them in one go. Can't do it. Yeah, you have to do it an extra time. Deal again. Yeah, definitely one of the least offensive differences in the remake, I guess. Ah, man, but this level has never looked better. But thankfully, the levels here, for as few as there are structured in a way where you can get to the exit portal pretty easily. So the homeworld is actually called Nork Nexus, interestingly enough. The whole thing is called Nasty's World, but the homeworld is actually something different. Alright, so we unlock the next dragon head, and as you go through, you'll get gems incrementally as well. Twilight Harbor. This is where it really gets difficult. Alright, so there's actually quite a bit to talk about with this level. For one, there is another pseudo skill point here where you have to track down a bunch of loose cogs laying around. I don't think I'm going to get all of them. Couldn't remember where all the locations are. I'm pretty sure I had to look up a walkthrough for that when I tried to get the trophy on the PS4 version. If I see any, I'll flame them, but they're not easy to find. So we need to talk about the enemies, okay? Because in the original PS1 version, besides this guy who's throwing explosive barrels, this guy was always throwing explosive stuff. Much like the Norks in Haunted Towers. But there's two other Norks that shoot. They use like guns to shoot stuff, right? In the PS1 version, the guns looked realistic. You know, there was a Gatling gun. Here's one of the cogs I was talking about. For some reason, you flame the cogs and they will actually disintegrate. I don't know why that is, but anyways, in PS1 version, the Norks shot with real Gatling and machine guns, right? But behold, now they shoot like paintballs, which, as you can see, kind of leaves a trail, right? A trail that makes it easier for the player to tell where the line of fire ends. Some people think that it was a censorship thing, though, which I guess could have been the reason why Toys for Bob decided to do that in the remake, but to me, I've always seen it as an advantage to being able to see the line of fire with these enemies. Maybe more so with the bigger Nort rather than the smaller one, which have always been less trouble to deal with in my experience. But yeah, whether it's censorship or gameplay reasons, you know, they made a change. Some people don't like it. I'm rather indifferent to it. I definitely see the advantage of the change.
Thank you for rescuing me.
Thank you for rescuing me. Now, that's a big difference, isn't it? Okay, I've been playing dumb up until now, but yeah, they start reusing dragons for some odd reason. I don't know why they did this in the original game, and it's hilarious that they kept that intact for the remake. But there is an interesting note with the next dragon I have to rescue. It's a dragon from the Beastmakers, but it was an interesting oversight, I guess you could say, in the PS1 version that I kind of wish I could show off, but I can't really. I mean, without splicing footage, which I don't really feel like doing because that might mess up the video. Sorry to say, guys, but I mean, you can always just look it up on your own time. I feel like those barrel throwing Norse might have gotten buffed, actually. I don't remember getting hit by them all that much. Yeah, I'm getting hit a lot. Actually, I might need to go back and get some rats, which is a surprise, because I could swear there was no fodder here in Twilight. But there we go. Rats. Some nice ratatouille going in the stomach of Sparks, I would hope. And an extra life up here. Pretty nicely placed, I would say. So we got one last supercharge. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need any real concentration. You keep the bridge down because you need to come back here and get this metal chest with the first supercharge. Alright? Then we gotta head back and we gotta do the real supercharge, I guess you could say. Not that it's a very difficult or taxing one to do. I believe you have to flame the lever. Alright, go over the bridge. And now we've got a handy dandy ramp to get to the top there. As you can see, there's an enemy holding up his paint gun, as it were. We're just gonna do that, and this is how you 100% Twilight Harbor. You gotta do all this. Thankfully, there's no real skill points to worry about here. Definitely weren't any skill points in the original, so you know. Just gotta look out for the darn cops. I managed to find 2 of them, but I think there's like 6 for some ridiculous quantity like that. Like I said, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head where all of them are. I would recommend looking up a walkthrough if you're playing on PS4 or Xbox. You don't get anything for it here on the Switch version, so I wouldn't really worry about it. I've pretty much shown off how to get all of the skill points up to this point, though, with the mild exception of the bull skill point in Town Square, but I think I explained it well enough. I did go back and get it off screen, like I said, I did that. And one other thing I might have missed during the first episode. It's not really a big deal to worry about. Anyway, let's rescue this dragon. Cletus.
Be on the lookout for Nork Commandos, Spyro.
They better be on the lookout for me.
So in the original version of this game, that dragon was from the Beastmakers. Same name, meant to be the same dragon, I'm sure. But he looked different. Believe it or not. He looked like a different dragon in the PS1 version. It makes you think if it was like a rejected Nasty's World dragon design or something. Even though it's supposed to be a dragon from the Beastmakers, but in the remake here, they kept the dragon the same as I think was supposed to be the case. I don't know. It's really weird how to do that. I do suggest looking that up. I think I still have a speed play of the original Spyro on PS1, just so people can make that comparison. So try to look that up on the channel if you can, and if for some reason I don't have it up anymore, it's very easy to look up. Again, this isn't a very long game. It's only like 3 hours if you know what you're doing. So not a terribly huge time investment to watch or to play on your own time. Honestly, here's a cog over here. I think that's 3 of them. Again, I don't know exactly how many there are, but some of them are placed in such ridiculous locations. And again, you don't get a real skill point for it. You get a pseudo skill point. So on Switch, there isn't any equivalent to trophies or achievements, so really just there just for the heck of it. And I said all I wanted to say about the whole quote-unquote censorship or whatever. People do know that paintball gun, and everything like that, it's a real thing, you know. So, whether you consider it censorship or a gameplay reason to have the line of sight more easily detectable by the player, that's all on you. I prefer to fall into that latter camp myself. Alright, well, it's time to get all the remaining gems here in North Nexus. Because, yeah, there he is right there. He's waiting on the other side. Then you get all the gems. Now, you're wondering, why weren't there any gems in that dragon head? Because that's the dragon head we need to get 100% on in order to access. And unfortunately, we only have 96% right now. So without further ado, let's get to the main show. So, totally not random question. Did any of you miss the thief chases that I was doing throughout the first half of this game? And then I didn't have to do any of that for Beastmakers or Dreamweavers? Well, they're kind of bad in a big way. Also, Nasty himself, well, we'll just have to wait and see. For now, though, there are some gems to collect in this initial area. Watch out for Nasty, though, because he's throwing energy projectiles your way, and they can get you. If you're not careful, they can get you off guard. So keep on the lookout for that sort of thing, alright? So we need to look for an area that we can go into. There we go, there's the wise guy. So we've got some key thieves now, instead of egg thieves. Well, we had some gem thieves and beastmakers, but you weren't really chasing them. They were honestly really slow, because getting to them was the challenge. But now, thief chases are back, and they, like I said, they came back strong. And these are some of the hardest thief chases in the game. It might take a while to actually get some of these guys. And usually I can get lucky and get some of them a little earlier, but it's kind of a crapshoot. In the original, if you flame and then start charging right after you flame, I find that the flame's hitbox actually gets pushed forward a little bit. I don't think that holds true in Reignited. Got that guy, move on over here for round 2. That's right, the second thief. You gotta knock out 2 of these guys. Ideally, you would do 1 pass to get all the gems, and then another pass for the thief himself. That's just usually how it goes with Nasty North. The level called Nasty North, because yeah, it's just like with Jacques Hughes. This is the name of the level, but it's also the name of the boss. It's weird how they did that, but it is what it is. It's not a huge deal. So this might take me a little bit. In fact, I may... Nope, already got it. Thought I might have had to, have a moment of silence again, like with the supercharger, but no. After you knock out 2 thieves, the second thief, we start on Nasty himself. But he's not going to fight directly. Now that we're actually getting close to him, he's not going to fight directly. Knock this out. Again, first pass for the gems. Logical. And I think the skill point here isn't to beat him without getting hit, because honestly, that's probably the easiest to do since Toasty, arguably. The thing that you gotta do, I believe you have to do 3 laps of this course before you start taking on Nasty yourself. You have to do 3 laps, I believe that's the skill point. So I'm gonna try and do that before we actually continue the fight. But, the first lap, you're gonna get gems anyway, so I find that you're gonna do at least 2 laps just to get the gems and get Nasty on the second time. So doing 1 more lap on top of that really isn't a big deal. Also, you should be shooting for 375 out of 500 gems prior to actually starting to fight Nasty directly. Well, as much as you can as a player. So I am going to go ahead and be silent to go for the rest of this lap and final lap, just because I don't really have much else to say. This is kind of a drag out skill point, but it's not as bad as it could have been, I guess. Okay, I'm actually misremembering. I think there is a skill point for doing this perfectly. Apparently, I may have mistaken the lap thing for a trophy or an achievement. My bad, but Do 3 laps on the PS4, Xbox One version just in case. Maybe that'll get you one of those pseudo skill points. My bad on that. I don't know why they had like separate trophies and achievements from the skill points, but it is what it is.
You're toast, Nork. Sorry I took so long. Almost forgot about you guys.
What about Ganasty Gnork?
Nasty Nork is toast.
So now there's order again in the Dragon Kingdom?
Well, mostly. I've still got some treasure to find.
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
So yeah, we've still got some treasure to get, and a dragon, because it would have been weird to end on 79. And this dragon is another rehash. We'll see what happens here.
Nasty's ancient history now. So, what's in there?
I believe this is Nasty's treasure hoard, but the gate will only open if you have found everything in the Dragon Kingdom. Come back when you have reached 100%.
So here's an interesting fun fact. There are 6 dragons to rescue here in Nasty's world, 1 each from every homeworld, with the exception of the artisans actually getting 2. I don't know why they decided to do it like that, but if they were going to double up on any of them, the first world made the most sense. So, by getting 100%, you unlock Nasty's loot. This is sort of a flight level, but not really. But this is your reward for going through 100%. You get a whole nother level and you get a whole nother ending, so that's why I decided to do that for the Let's Play. Because I feel like I could have just, told you to watch my speed play, but I might have a few words to say about this level, so let's just dive right into it. So Nasty's Loot is an interesting level. It plays mostly like a traditional platforming level, but you get the bonus glide from the flight levels. So I guess you could call it kind of a mishmash. So another fun fact is that the only color gems you'll find here are yellow and purple. Burgundy if you're playing this one version, of course. So there are a lot of gems here. I think there are 3,000 gems. You come in here with 12,000 that you collected from all the other levels in the game. 3,000 here will bring you to 15,000. Maybe it's more. Let me double check. Okay, there's 2,000. Really? So 14,000 gems total. It's a little odd. And we get more key thieves. Oh boy! But these are nowhere near as elaborate as the ones from, Nasty North the level. My bad about that whole 3 laps thing. I must have mistaken it for something else, clearly. It might have been a trophy or something. Like I said, I don't know why there's like a separate list of skill points and trophies and achievements in the PS4 and Xbox One version. It's such an odd thing to do. I mean, adding more stuff to do in the original for the game is fine, but having trophies and achievements separate, it's just weird. It does make getting everything confusing. Oh, is this going to actually be 100% of the game, or is it just going to give me a silly trophy or achievement that I may or may not care about, I don't understand that frustrating. So the way Nasty's Loot works is that you have to get keys to unlock doors, and for some reason, by unlocking the doors, your ascension, your ability to go higher and higher vertically, gets better with every door you unlock. Again, I don't know why it's locked off. I mean, for a gameplay perspective, it makes sense, but I don't know what would be limiting Spyro in particular to do all that stuff, It just seems a little weird on that front, but on a gameplay level, it makes sense to do things little by little. You wouldn't want to overwhelm the player, right? And while it's pretty hard to miss gems in this level, you do have the handy-dandy Sparks Treasure Finder to find any gems you may or may not miss. But it's going to be a lot of thieves to catch here. Now we have thieves on planes. This is going to be the last time we see this in the series, but yeah, thieves on planes too, because, you know, just chasing them through the ground wasn't enough. You gotta take to the air now. I mean, you're justifying the flight a little bit more, so that's good. I actually like the plane thieves well enough. They can be a little annoying, though. They always seem to track just slightly ahead of you. I will say that I think they were nerfed a little bit here in the remake, which is good, if that's the case. They won't really go backwards if you try to go ahead of them, like the thieves on the ground will. So maybe, I don't know. Let's see if I can get this guy to stop. No! Man, this guy's a wise guy. So, I think the lower you are, in terms of your flying, I think the lower you are... Oh, now he's going to turn around? I think the lower you are, the faster you go, but for all I know, that could just be a placebo effect, honestly. But, yeah, this is a pretty fitting closing level. Did he just seriously run into me there? Alright, well, okay, I'll take it. But yeah, this is a pretty nice closing level for the original Spyro, I think. I wouldn't call it the best final level in the series. The best final level in the series is the one in Spyro 3, which is why I'm going to suffer getting 100% in that game, because I do want to show that off, and I do have a lot to say about it, so I am going to do 100% on that. But maybe I'll give myself a little relief in Spyro 2, because here's a fun fact. You don't have to get 100% to see everything there is to see in Spyro 2. You can actually skip a level as well as all of the backtracking in Spyro 2, and you can still see everything that the game has to offer. So expect that when I get around to doing the Let's Play for Spyro 2. Expect something like that. What level will I wind up skipping? Well, you'll have to wait and see. But I wouldn't want to disappoint people jumping into my Spyro 2 Let's Play. You know, set your expectations realistically for that sort of thing, because I do want to keep a good pacing. If you ever want to see me do actual 100% in any of the games I Let's Play, more likely than not, there will be a 100% speed play you can watch to see me actually do all that. But I may not always have something to say for every little thing in the game, you know, so I think it's beneficial to save the viewer time if I have nothing to say, you know what I mean? But I do have stuff to say about this level, obviously. I like the way that this level works with the incremental upgrades for the flight and all that. And it's also just satisfying and cathartic to just basically have free reign to constantly collect gems. If you're a fan of the collectathon subgenre of 3D platformers, it doesn't really get much better than this. If all you want to do is collect stuff over and over. It's a fun level, a nice reward for getting 100% in the original Spyro, and that's why I feel like showing it off. But this has been a great time doing a Let's Play for the original Spyro. Technically, this is my second time. I actually did a post-commentary kind of thing a few years back for the original version, but I do feel like this, with the live commentary and all that, it's just a wholesale improvement. That and doing the remake, too. Just a wholesale improvement on that old project of mine. And I think we're going to look forward to more greener pastures. Not just for my content on whatever channel I decide to show myself up on, whether it's Temple of the Azure Flame, Lazuli Empire, or now Loose Goose. But Loose Goose is operated under another individual for my own protection and safety. Hope people will understand and respect that. Some of you won't, and that's fine. But this ends Spyro 1 Reignited. Join me next time we return to the Spyro series, retrospective, whatever you want to call this larger series, as we move on to Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage Reignited Edition. I've loved your guys' times watching my videos, and I hope you look forward to what's coming next.
Spyro the Dragon, you've defeated Ganasty Ganor, collected the dragon eggs, saved all the dragons, and recovered every bit of treasure in the Dragon Kingdom. How do you feel?
I feel fired up, Bob. And I'm happy for the dragon world, of course. I certainly wouldn't want to spend the rest of my dragon days butting heads with Nasty Nork and his weird minions.
What's a minion?
Never mind. You know what they say. For every good battle, you need a good adversary. And I felt that Nasty, in spite of his misguided nature, was a worthy opponent. Uh-oh. Here we go again.